Hello everyone, this is Josiah Enyart. Today I'll be talking with you about characteristics and empowerment within servant leadership through a few different visual models, videos that you can find on YouTube. This is for my Mid-American Nazarene University Masters TET 49 program. I have a picture of Mother Teresa, genuinely loving, holding, being very affectionate with the child, and she's a great visual model for what servant leadership is. She had power per se. People listened to her. People followed what she said. She was a prominent character in helping others. Yet her entire life was serving others. And through that serving, she rose to power. She rose as a power figure in her realm. So let's get started. Characteristics for Mother Teresa, she was very accepting. On the next slide, you'll see how no matter what other people were like or how they would respond in her mind, in her philosophy, and the way she lived her life, it was all about loving anyway. She was always very present. She was fully engaged in love. In fact, she was most joyous when she was with people, helping people. And the last thing she worried about was her own needs while she was helping others. Her principles of empowerment included demonstrating her value for people. She was, anybody will tell you when you ask about Mother Teresa, it was no surprise, it was obvious. She clearly loved, appreciated, valued, and sacrificed for others. So in this quote, she goes over several different elements here. People who are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered, forgive them anyway. So even though other people may act a certain way, it's not our job to judge them. It's our job to forgive them, to love them, to be kind to them, to be honest, and to be frank, no matter what the outcome would be. And the overlying principle that she went by was because, and at the bottom, it says because, and on the next slide it would show in the video that it wasn't necessarily just for them, it was for God, it was for Jesus, and how He loved us, He loved others. And when we demonstrate that to others, His light shines and our true joy can be found. She was very present. It says, I am a little pencil in the hand of a writing God who is sending a love letter. In order to be that tool, you have to engage. You have to be fully engaged, not just kind of engaged. Otherwise, the authenticity won't be there. And I don't think there's any question in anyone's mind whether Mother Teresa was authentic or not. She clearly valued others. This was that original video. But in demonstrating her value for others, she empowered them. She made them feel loved. She helped orphans feel like they had a home. People who were hurting feel like they had a way out. And Mother Teresa will always be a figure in history that models servant leadership. Lean on Me was a movie with Morgan Freeman, phenomenal movie. I highly recommend watching it. I watched it in high school, I think, but the idea behind it is there is a school just absolutely rampaged by thugs, hooligans, drug dealers. They've got windows that are caged. All the halls are covered in graffiti. The teachers are terrified and obviously not doing their job because they don't feel empowered to do so. Yet they're doing it because it's what their job is. And so the students aren't learning. They're running the school. They are failing all testing. The state's going to shut them down, and they bring in Morgan Freeman to help fix the school. He's obviously worked at a high level and done this before, and they believe he is the guy who can turn this school around, but he has to make some very difficult decisions and lead not only the students but the staff back into their role as to being teachers of students and helping them learn. So his characteristics were, he was very authentic. He was who he said he was. And I'll show you a couple pictures that demonstrate that within the movie. And in certain clips you can see, he has to take on certain personas, but he backs them up. He's very useful. He's very clear and practical. We're going to do it this way, and this is going to be the results that we will see. He's very clearly performed at a high level. Otherwise, he wouldn't be there. He makes that very apparent in one of the scenes we watched where he tells them, he asks the question, do you think you can run this school? Well, if you could, I wouldn't be here. And his principles of empowerment, it can't really be seen in the clip that we watched, but as you watch the whole movie, he did share his leadership vision, and then he continually backed it up. But his vision was to very clearly to fix a broken system and to help the students succeed at all costs, to get over the past, to get over your own selfish desires, and to understand that they are there for one reason, and that is to help the students succeed. And he shared those strategies and plans by introducing a new security officer, changing the coaches, the janitorial duties, taking out the caged windows. His quote was, "If you treat them like animals, that's exactly what they'll act like." And then knowing him wanting to know all the drug traffickers, the hoodlums, the people who are the main causes. And in the movie, what you find is he goes and immediately expels them, just gets rid of the main problem, and then starts going straight after each issue one by one, knocking them out until the school becomes a wonderful place. So in this first picture, the top left, you can see some worry, some fear in his face. Morgan Freeman was a great character for this movie. I love movies, by the way. And in the background, you see the school is an absolute mess. He is clearly getting into a very difficult situation and knows that there are certain things he's going to have to do to really make this happen, and that it's going to be very difficult. And one of them was to put on a stern face for the teachers and to demonstrate that you can't take this from the kids. The kids should not be running this. So in the bottom right picture, I'm not really sure where my cursor is, you can see on his face totally different persona. He is direct, he's in charge, shoulders are back, head is up, and he's demonstrating that authenticity that, you know, this is the way we're going to do it, but he's going to back it up. He's not just getting on to the teachers. He's showing, you know, I've done this before. I've been here. I'm going to keep doing this. So what I say for you guys to do, I'm going to do as well. He was also very useful, as I shared in the first slide, about Lean on Me. He's been at a very high level before. I mean, who else walks around with a Secret Service agent besides him and the President of the United States, which Morgan Freeman also played in the movie? But dresses himself the right way, and as he goes on through the plan that I'm going to share in the next slide, he knows where they're going, and he's going to fix the problems specifically one at a time. And he does a great job of doing that throughout the movie. So his shared leadership vision, this is the empowerment part. This is when he is explaining to the janitorial staff about the second graffitis on the wall and one off. Immediately hitting one problem there. He then goes and fixes the football coach situation and replaces the head coach because he's tired of being the laughing stock. He also talked about finding and wanting to know who all the hoodlums were, who the people that were drug trafficking were, and what you find out in the movie, he actually just goes and immediately expels them, just knocks that problem out. And so one by one, after he's knocking these little problems out, well, the big problems, but one at a time, then the staff can get behind him and say, okay, this guy's for real. Let's jump on this. We know what the vision is. We know what the plan is. Now it's our turn to do our part. And so through his leadership and sharing that vision, then they can start to take part in it themselves. So A Bug's Life, totally different type of movie. A lot of fun though. Characteristics of servant leadership that we see in a scene where the leaf falls in the line near at the very beginning and the ants don't know what to do. You know, a leaf is pretty big to an ant. And two leaders come down. One of them in particular is right underneath the queen. And immediately the first thing he does is show empathy and vulnerability. He doesn't get frustrated, and he relates to the problem that they're having with one that he had, the twig of 93. He's also very healing and useful. He fixed the problem and directly and didn't beat around the bush, even though they went around the leaf. Wanted to make sure that the ants knew they could trust him and that what they were doing was okay. So how did he empower them to do that? He provided frequent feedback. So after praising them for getting started, he also helped keep their focus and their confidence high. The confidence builder was at the beginning when he brought up the twig of 93, but then he continued to praise them and keep them focused, and then at the very end when they were all done, praise them even more. Although it seems like a tiny task, to them it was big, and he understood that. So in this scene right here for the empathy and vulnerability, this is when he's talking about the twig of 93, and the ant in front who's freaking out listened to every word of this and just hung on it, and that helped kind of alleviate some of that immediate fear. So then as they're walking, his usefulness, he kept them focused. That first picture there on the top left, he was saying, look at my eyes, don't look away. There on the bottom right, keeping them focused. And then at the end, providing that constant, frequent feedback. They were on their way. They were really happy. And he was saying, great job, you got it. You'll figure it out. And even though the other ant in the back there seems to be kind of freaking out as well about the big gap in the line, he does a good job of even calming her down and saying it's going to be okay because there's enough other problems to deal with than a small gap in the line. In conclusion, living a life of integrity and having a heart to serve can create a servant leadership position in almost any situation. From Lean On Me, a very serious and intense movie, to A Bug's Life, a very silly but fun movie. In the real world, whether you're a teacher, whether you're in charge of an entertainment business, or the CEO of a major company, if you live with integrity, people will notice. And if you have a heart to serve, people will notice. Then power finds its way to you. Thank you.